Folks, yesterday ESPN suspended anchor Jemele Hill for her response to Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones' comments regarding his team's players protesting during the national anthem. Hill is the co-host of the 6 to 7 p.m. weekday Sports Center show along with Michael Smith, and she was suspended for 2 weeks for what ESPN says is a violation of the network's social media policy. So here's what took place. A fan was actually tweeting yesterday about exactly what needs to happen in terms of the players. And so what she then did was she tweeted that, well, look, don't put the onus on the players. Consider going after the sponsors of the Cowboys. That was the tweet that actually led to their action. Let me pull up ESPN's statement, please, folks. If you can have that, that'll be great. Because ESPN, after that, now you might remember, just a couple of weeks ago, you had the whole brouhaha when she called Donald Trump a white supremacist. ESPN said that she got a slap on the wrist, that she violated their social media policy. Well, this statement yesterday, Jemele Hill has been suspended for 2 weeks for a second violation of our social media guidelines. She previously acknowledged letting her colleagues and company down with an impulsive tweet. In the aftermath, all employees were reminded of how individual tweets may reflect negatively on ESPN and that such actions would have consequences, hence this decision. Now, the blowback was fierce, especially when it came to African Americans. Reverend Al Sharpton tweeted this: ESPN suspension of Jemele Hill is an outrage and should not go unanswered. ESPN and advertisers will hear from us. And you will hear from Reverend Al Sharpton in the next hour right here on News One Now on TV One. Other folks as well have been posting the phone number to ESPN on their social media accounts, telling their followers to call them, including Reverend Jamal Bryant, Angela Rye, Common, Anthony Anderson, and a host of others. A lot of people are saying, I stand with Jemele Hill. This has led to lots of conversation and blowback. So the question is, what will happen next with ESPN? Now, keep in mind, Jerry Jones, of course, who talked with Donald Trump several times about the protest, he released this statement. And this is what led to all of this, because you might remember it was Jones who stood with his players in taking a knee. Many people like me thought it was BS, and now we know the real deal. This is what Jerry Jones said on Sunday. If there's anything that is disrespectful to the flag, then we will not play. You understand? If we are disrespectful to the flag, then we won't play, period. We're going to respect the flag, and I'm going to create the perception of it, and we have. What Jones is saying is that any player who actually takes a knee, he will bench them, including any of his stars. Now, Sean King has been tweeting that he has talked to several Cowboys players, not releasing their name, and those individuals have said that there's no doubt that even the stars on that team are not going to run afoul of what Jerry Jones has decided. This has also led to other teams stepping up on this issue. The Miami Dolphins, their owner, Stephen Ross, who is, of course, considered one of the most progressive NFL owners, he's also told his players not to take a knee. Several have. And then if they do want to do so, they can actually stand in the tunnel. The Washington Redskins, they have not come out with an official statement, but according to Sean King, players there have made it clear that Dan Snyder, who was one of the owners who in his original statement after Trump attacked the NFL and his players, made no mention of Donald Trump. He's also one of the folks who gave $1 million to the inauguration of Donald Trump, along with Jerry Jones and 5 other NFL owners. They also say they're being forced to stand. What you're now going to see are more owners following the lead of the NFL's most powerful owner, Jerry Jones, to implement policies forcing their players to actually stand. The question is, how will the players respond? The NFL Players Association, they did release a statement after Jerry Jones' comment, saying they are proud of their, actually was after Vice President Mike Pence's comment, saying they were proud of their players. The question now is, will the Players Union go after Jerry Jones and the other owners who say you're violating the rights of the players because this is not in a collective bargaining agreement? Let's talk with Alexis McComb, sports analyst and author of the book, Girls Guide to Go, Football 101, and the Big Bowl Game. Also my panel here, Tiffany Lofton, civil and labor union organizer, George Farrell, founder of Black PAC, author of Success is Colorblind. Of course, Black PAC is a conservative political action committee. Wendy Osefo, political analyst and professor of education at Johns Hopkins University. So, Alexis, when you see this reaction, here's what we're now seeing. We're now seeing that this whole issue of the NFL protest, there's no conversation about the original goal. It is not about police brutality. It's not about criminal justice reform. Now what Donald Trump has done has flipped this thing into a total deal of flag disrespect, flag national anthem disrespect, and the owners are following down the line.
What this is basically doing is setting the path for a civil war within the NFL. You are, by making that statement, Jerry Jones is pitching the management, owners, coaches, GMs, et cetera, against the players. Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the NFL, but Jerry Jones is the mayor. Anytime you tell a player that they have to do something, you're, by human nature, someone is going to rebel against that. So it's really going into unprecedented and dangerous territory to make that type of statement and demand.
But what you have, though, is you have NFL owners who make it clear, we own this. We run this. It is a $14 billion a year industry. And they don't have the kind of contracts that the NBA players have or baseball players have. You don't have the guaranteed contracts. NFL, they've had the shortest career out of all the professional leagues. And pretty much they operate with a very much an owner mentality when it comes to players. We run this, we control this, you do exactly what we say.
And that's exactly the problem, that players are not getting their just due in terms of what they bring to the table. If there are no players, there's no football. If there's no football, there's no sponsorships. So the problem is that, to your point, the NFL is not addressing the point of social activism, which started this original protest. And the thing that was disturbing about Jerry Jones, I will say I'm an avid Dallas Cowboys fan.
Y'all know no way in the hell I support them. I hate them more than I hate the Klan.
Yeah,
they sounded very familiar. Go ahead.
I was very disappointed because, in all honesty, Jerry Jones has a reputation for giving players a second chance. People who have had off-the-field issues, he's brought them in. He's set up systems for them to succeed off the field. Set them up with mentors. So it's very surprising to hear him take this stance.
No, it's not. No, Jerry Jones did all of that to benefit Jerry Jones. Yes. That had nothing to do with the players. This is the same. See, here's what I find to be interesting, okay, because this is really what led to the whole deal with the suspension. Jerry Jones is the same guy who signed Greg Hardy, who viciously beat his girlfriend in North Carolina. The only reason he wasn't convicted, well, first of all, he appealed the original decision. He wasn't convicted because she disappeared and chose not to testify. Many believe she was paid off big time by him as a result. Jerry Jones called Greg Hardy one of the leaders of this team. Jerry only cares about Jerry. If you can make Jerry more money and you rape somebody, you beat somebody, you use cocaine, you smoke weed, you use performance-enhancing drugs, Jerry don't care as long as you don't mess with Jerry's money. And when Greg Hardy kept acting a fool, and then more women began to speak up, Jerry said, nah, we're not going to sign Greg Hardy. But he signed and vouched for a man who viciously beat his girlfriend with photos to prove it. But he didn't care because that was about Jerry and his money.
No, I'm not saying that there is his motivation in terms of why he's doing it, but that's been the pattern for him in terms of creating the image, whether it's justified or not, that he is, we're all about family, football is family.
No, Jerry Jones,
agenda.
His mentor was Al Davis. But Al Davis, I guarantee you would have signed Colin Kaepernick by now, especially with Derek Carr being injured. The thing here, when you look at in terms of course, the response, again, folks are now looking at where ESPN stands. Here's the reality, okay? ESPN is in bed with the NFL.
Absolutely.
ESPN, that is a partner.
Yeah.
They spend billions.
Yep.
They spend, and not just ESPN, we're talking about Disney.
Yep.
Because games are on Monday Night Football,
that's right.
ESPN. Okay, this is billions of dollars at stake.
Absolutely. Roland, here's what folks are not fooled by, okay? That not only are they in bed together, but that the money that is in line with this relationship will put anybody in jeopardy who decides to mess with that money. Let's be very clear. Jerry Jones also donated $1 million to Donald Trump's campaign. He also had a conversation with him after he decided to kneel before the anthem that took place. And after that, had a conversation with him and said on his Twitter account, Donald Trump said on his Twitter account, I support Jerry Jones and he is doing everything he needs to do to support and keep the flag at hell. So I am not confused by the relationship, and neither is Americans that are watching now. They are not confused by the NFL and by ESPN, but they are definitely not confused by Donald Trump and Jerry Jones's relationship, because like you said, anybody messes with Jerry Jones, that is where the line is drawn.
Shelly, go to my iPad. 9 hours ago, Donald Trump tweeted this: a big salute to Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, who will bench players who disrespect our flag, stand for anthem, or sit for game. And then, so do this here. Let me also now, Jerry Jones, excuse me, he also tweeted this. Now, this is what's amazing. With all the issues happening in the world, Donald Trump wakes up and has the NFL on his mind. He tweeted this, George: why is the NFL getting massive tax breaks while at the same time disrespecting our anthem, flag, and country change tax law? He then just tweeted this here. With Jemele Hill at the mic, it is no wonder ESPN ratings have tanked. In fact, tanked so badly, it is the talk of the industry. Again, he wants to make this let's just cut to the chase. This is a racial battle. This is not about the flag.
That's right.
This is 1968.
Right.
Okay, next year marks the 50th anniversary of Tommy Smith and John Carlos at Mexico City at the Olympics. America responded the exact same way. And they was talking about police brutality then. This is Donald Trump ginning up his white base, wrapping himself in the flag and the anthem, and saying, all of you spoiled rich players, shut up and sit down and listen to what your owners are telling you.
Roland, I agree with the players' right to protest. I know they have a right to protest, and I support that. I support that going back 50 years. But what we don't have is that the owners cannot tell the players what to do, even though they have the right to do it. The players have the right to do it, but they have to suffer the consequences. Now, if they're willing to do that, they should protest all they want. I agree with the players. I know they have the right to protest. Now, what the owners do, I have no idea. There's going to be a meeting of the minds somewhere down the line where the owners and the players get together, and the players will probably come out on top on this. I agree with them.
I actually have to say something about that. There is a clause, there is an operations clause that says players should stand. So there's nothing to my knowledge that anyone has been able to produce that says that you have to stand. And then you're also getting into legal issues about an employer making you do something in the same way that, say, if you go into a workplace and say you have to pray while you're here every morning at 9 o'clock.
And in that manual, there are no consequences if you do not stand. Those are not written either.
Exactly. And to your point about players, it's really going to be the onus on the players to make a stand about what they're going to do about this situation. I personally feel like Jerry Jones probably did inventory of his locker room and looked at the personalities of the players and decided, hey, who's going to take a knee? If I make this statement, am I going to be able to ride with it all the way through? And he probably felt like most of the players were going to fall in line.
No. But the bottom line, Wendy, Jerry knows perfectly well, I tell y'all what to do, you're going to follow it. And the reality is this here. You have young stars on that team. You have Ezekiel Elliott, second year. Dak Prescott, second year. Des Bryant has been in the league several years. You don't have a Michael Irvin or Emmitt Smith on that team. The bottom line is here. The Cowboys players, they're not going to take a knee. They're going to fall in line, and Jerry knows it because he's saying, I control you. That's what we're seeing.
And not just that. So this is all a big plan, because now they have an example in Colin Kaepernick. They are going to say, I do take a knee, we see what the league has done to him. They have not given him a job. So there is a precedent here. So there's three things in play. There's a legislative issue because Donald Trump has no legislative wins. So right now what he's doing is he's riling his base, and he's saying, you know what, let this issue be my greatest win, and so far it has been. Second piece is the financial piece. The financial piece is Jemele Hill tweeted about white supremacy. She did not get suspended. But then when she tweets about boycotting advertisers, which will cost them billions of dollars, oh no, that relationship between the NFL and ESPN says, you know what, you're not going to do that. And then the third piece is now for sure Colin Kaepernick will sit out in the NFL because they need him as a straw man to say, if you violate this policy,
Right.
then you will be the next college
That's an
champion.
example.
And that's what's going on.
You made a point. This is what Kevin Seifert tweeted several hours ago. Shelly, go to my iPad. The national anthem, this is from the NFL manual. The national anthem must be played prior to every NFL game, and all players must be on the sideline for the national anthem. Keep in mind, this has only happened since 2009 when the military paid the NFL to actually start this. During the national anthem, players on the field and bench area should stand at attention, face the flag, hold helmets in their left hand, and refrain from talking. The home team should ensure that the American flag is in good condition. It should be pointed out to players and coaches that we continue to be judged by the public in this area of respect for the flag in our country. Failure to be on the field by the start of the national anthem may result in discipline, such as fines, suspensions, and or the forfeiture of draft choices for violations of the above, including first offenses.
And you know what? Sadly, historically, that has been a tactic to make African Americans, disenfranchised people, fall in line. There was a joke, well, I won't tell the joke, but that's been a tactic that's been used. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing, to your point, about setting an example with Colin Kaepernick and now with Jerry Jones for other owners to fall in place with that, implementing that same policy.
When people were lynched, that's what they used to do. They used to make other slaves watch that lynching and use that as an example. If you try to run, if you try to leave, this will be you. That is what Colin Kaepernick is.
This is why what requires for the players. This requires stars to lead.
That's right.
Absolutely.
The only way this
Absolutely.
changes is when the let's be perfectly clear. Jerry Jones needs his stars if he wants to win.
Absolutely.
If the stars of his team, if the stars of the Dolphins, if the stars on the Giants, on the Panthers, if Cam Newton leads the team in taking a knee, Jerry Richardson will not suspend Cam Newton. You know why? Because guess what? You think you can go get another Cam Newton? There's a reason they are the creme de la creme. They simply are not just hanging around the corner or hanging out at the barbershop or standing outside the stadium. They can be the best players. We've seen replacement players. Y'all remember when they had the strike in the NFL? Nobody wanted to watch replacement players. The question, though, will you have those who have the most power or leverage in the league actually use it?
People power.
We'll see. Gotta go. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false.
You are wrong.
He
Unfiltered.
wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
News One Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.